Morning, guys. It is a little bit before 7. Nice and cool out here. That's a nice change of pace. Trying to get an early start today, get a lot of stuff going on. As I told y'all on one of my last videos, I can't keep up with which video it was, but the electric company called me on Friday and said they would be out here Monday, which is today. Spilt coffee on me this morning. Can't do anything right, can I? But they'll be out here a little bit later. We're going to try to figure out exactly where they're going to run stuff, the pricing on it, all that kind of good stuff. So I'll be able to update you on the next video on the main channel. Went out to the ranch yesterday. Saw a lot of animals out there. I got a lot of footage of them, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys on the next video as well what all I saw out there. I don't know, it's awesome being out there. It's my area that I like to be, just to be away from everybody, and just it's super quiet, and it's just very relaxing out there. And I wanted to bring you guys along and show y'all some of the wildlife that I saw. So hope you guys are looking forward to that. I have a couple of clips of me out at Baffin Bay as well, doing a little bit of fishing. I'm just going to incorporate both of those at the beginning of the video, so stay tuned for that. We got stuff we need to do inside the house. We got stuff we got to do out here in the yard. I need to move this pump back to the shop. We got to mess with the wiring on it. I don't remember what I said on the last video or one of the videos about it, but the wiring on it's messed up. I believe it was the switch, so we tried to rewire it, and it worked for a good 30 minutes or so, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. So that's not doing any good out here. Need to bring it to the shop. We got to try to rewire it or figure out maybe a new switch or something for it and get this water moving in this pond. Currently filling up the pond. It is still about a foot low, so I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just fill this thing up completely. So I'm just gonna let it run today. Water bill will be a little bit high. I just told Dad, since I'm running water from their property over here, I just said whatever the normal bill is, I'll cover anything over it. So we'll see how much that's gonna be. Hopefully it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg, because I already know I'm running low on body parts. So I got to get this cleaned up as well. This is something that's starting to look like a jungle. These vines over here, they grow so fast. They're very, very invasive. Most of y'all know, if you've been paying attention, the majority of this yard, the dirt is from the pond. I'd say probably 90% of it is what we got from the pond. And then we had the county dump some dirt, whatever they had available, which wasn't too much, but if I don't keep this place nice and mowed or cleaned up, a lot of the vines and stuff will start growing back. And right here's a good example of what it would look like. I mean, I don't really mind it being right here since it is next to the pond. Those vines do flower off. I think it's little pink flowers or something, but my main thing is back along my back fence line where we put the horse fencing in. A lot of those vines try to grow up the fence, and I don't want the fence to be covered with those, because when they die off or during the winter time, it just looks like crap. It looks like just a bunch of dead vines. And so it does take quite a bit of time and effort to get all that stuff done. And same thing with Mom and Dad by their pool. We did bring in some dirt. We got some dirt from Granny's pasture as well, which is across the street over here, and put a bunch of dirt around their pool. And then Dad sprinkled a bunch of grass seed. I think it was St. Augustine, I don't know, some seed. But he's been keeping it watered, and you can see the same type of vine starting to grow up over there. And it just is what it is until the grass gets established. Like back here, all this is Bermuda grass, and it's definitely taken over all the weeds. Once I keep it mowed and all that good stuff, it's starting to overpower the other stuff. So that's a good thing. I need to keep this thing full because it's hard to weed eat along here. It's not super hard, but it's more of a hassle having to weed eat on a slant. So if I keep this pond nice and full, I can just run the weed eater just along the sides and keep it nice and clean. And I'm gonna get rid of this little patch of grass here. I did let one section grow up. I thought it looked okay next to the pond, but I had a subscriber, Ed, send me, he actually stopped by and gave me some canna lilies, and I have some planted just right outside where you can't see right here on the camera. And then I have a couple of them over here, which are starting to grow back. When I first put them in the ground, they pretty much died off, and then they finally caught root and are shooting out again. So I'll have to come in here and weed eat all this stuff and then go back in. And I need to buy a new net, by the way. I got to get all this grass and stuff off. You can see some of it starting to grow over. At one point it was almost completely grown over, and I went in and used that net and scooped a bunch of it out. And I do want some of that grass in there to keep for the fish to be able to hide in. but I don't want it to be an overgrown thing. This is mainly meant for the dogs to swim in. This is their pond, and that's the reason why I dug it out for them. And I just so happened to throw some goldfish in there that happened to survive. I was kind of shocked they did, but anyways, that's what I'll be getting into today, cleaning up all this stuff. That's what I was getting at, those vines. We're basically from the big pond, so got to get those rocks out from underneath it. You can see it's starting to grow up the tree too, and that's one thing I didn't want. I don't want those trees to be covered in them, because we pulled enough of those vines off when we first got the property out here, and everything was covered in those. And same thing with the grapes in the back. All the trees had the vines growing up all the way to the top, and just took weeks and weeks and weeks to get everything cleaned up. And I'm definitely not going to let it get back to that point. So I get asked ever so often for me to do updates on the property, and I had asked a while back about my fruit trees, the best way to keep them alive during this heat wave, and I got a bunch of good advice. I have been soaking them, and I call it my 3P orchard: peaches, plums, and pears. I got 3 of each of those, and they're all doing really, really good. So that's a good thing for me. It was a little bummer a while back when I went out there and all the leaves were dead, and I was like, man, I just wasted so much money on these fruit trees. And took y'all's advice, and I started soaking them really good, and now they're thriving out here. My guava tree, that thing was damn near gone, and now it's shooting out a bunch of green leaves. So everything's doing really well. The only things that have not made it are, one of my crabapple trees died. It was the one that was struggling since the get-go out by my chicken pen area. And then I had 3 blueberry bushes. I used to have them planted over here, and I moved them to the back to kind of make like a wall around the where the chickens would be. And I was hoping that they would grow up and the chickens would be able to peck through the fence at them if I kept them in their pen. All 3 of those died as well. So I get a good idea of what will grow down here really good, what won't. I'm sure me transplanting those didn't help out, and I'm sure old Cole Beer and my brother Matt will be busting my balls, because I like to move stuff around, and I want it to be the way I want it. And sometimes I plant something somewhere and I decide that I want to change it, and those 2 always bust my balls. So bust away if y'all want, guys. But these maple trees I have up here in the front, 2 out of the 3 still have green leaves on it. The 3rd one was the one that I don't know, it seemed like it was the straggler of the 3. It wasn't doing the best from the get-go either, and right now it has 0 leaves on it. It still seems like it's alive, so I'm just going to try to keep watering it and hope that it will come back, because I think it would look really cool driving by and seeing just big red maple trees up in the front yard, along with the big oak tree that's directly behind you guys that I got from my grannies. It's doing really well, or really good as well. I need to trim up the bottom portion of it. It's starting to try to grow out new branches from the bottom, and I don't want that. I'm an idiot. I can't even drink coffee without spilling it. One of those days, guys, one of those days. But anyways, there's my update for the property. Hopefully the next time you see this, it'll be all cleaned up, and I'll have an update for you guys on what the electric company says. So anyways, I do appreciate you guys for watching. I can't do this without you. Hope you guys have a great day. Oh, excuse me. And I'll catch you on the next one. Oh my gosh, peace. Bye, guys.